A lot of times I'm driving, there's nothing to do, and I shuffle through the radio before I unglue. There's a lot of red on ways, it's traffic, I'm screwed, and I'm wired a bit different than a regular dude. It's not a bad thing, I embrace it, it's true. The radio don't stimulate brain chemistry fluid. The Buddha found nirvana and the Four Noble Truths. Through a meditative process, right action he proved. For me, I require the use of a tool, a detector, pin, pointer, shovel, and beach scoop. I'm meant to work the dirt with my history crew, but everywhere I look, my interest taboo. Most people choose Bieber over Tippy Canoe. What does a detectorist listen to when the radio is full of bad music and news? I need an alternative for me to peruse. Beyond Sight and Sound gets fantastic reviews. A metal detecting show where my thought bubble brews. Thank you, Josh Kimmel, for inviting me to a detecting dork out with guests like yours truly.
Are you looking for a high-quality beach and sand scoop? Are you trying to take your hunting to the extreme? How about an American-based company that stands behind their product and everything they sell? Then check out our friends over at XTREME Scoops. John has been making scoops for some time now and makes a quality beach and sand scoop to take your hunting to the next level. XTREME Scoops recently released their new sand shredder that works great in the water and on the beach. And if you're a new Equinox user, you may want to check out his Surfmaster X3 that can trap those small targets you new Equinox users are finding out there. XTREME Scoop's company approach is let's do it right. So do it right, buy it once, and go to the extreme. XTREMEScoops.com. That's XTREME Scoops.com.
Hey, boys and girls. We are going to talk about S&W shooters and prospectors. What is S&W shooters and prospectors?
We at S&W Shooters and Prospectors help people find treasure.
Did you say treasure?
Yes, treasure. Just listen to this amazing review from our happy customer, Jackie Sparrow.
Chocolate ship-shape and a pleasure to deal with. I was able to buy everything that I needed at prices that were shillings less than others. I found my 9 pieces of meat in no time. Savvy?
I know you're asking yourself, why should I shop at S&W Shooter and Prospectors?
Chuck Smalley has over 45 years of metal detecting experience. He works with each customer one-on-one to customize their setup to match their skill level.
So if you always dreamt of being a pirate, contact Chuck at S&W Shooters and Prospectors and he'll take a great deal for you.
Eye patch and rum not included.
Caution. Please do not operate motor vehicles or power equipment while under the influence of this show. Listening to this show could cause side effects such as bouts of laughter, violent binges of cabin fever, and even dreams of silver and gold. Please be advised. Now that the fine print is out of the way, on with the show.
That's right, the fine print's out of the way. It's time to roll with the show. We're back, we're live once again. You are listening to Beyond Sight and Sound, metal detecting and treasure hunting radio for all the really cool digging people out there. And if you've tuned in tonight, you're definitely one of the cool digging people out there. Now the thing is, are you cool enough to get yourself on the waiting list? Oh, tonight we've got some interesting discussion to go on with. Talking about the Minelab MANTICORE. Seeing what people's thoughts, impressions, opinions are Obviously, we've got all the usual suspects in the chat, in the description. I see the Squatch Brothers are in, Chuck's in, Crazy Spider, Detecting Addicts, Mike, Barb, Bills, Phil, bunch of different people. Suki, bunch of different people dropping in, definitely. Jason's in. The other half of the Bortners are in. I see that. Interesting. Very, very cool. So we've had, and I'll throw that out right now, right here at the beginning of the show. I was running down to the wire, and I probably should have changed the format a little bit on the dimensions of the thumbnail for the show, because I had went with a different thumbnail at the last minute than what I had initially, but you folks that follow the Beyond Sight and Sound page, the Metal Detecting Beyond Sight and Sound group, you can see that image in its entirety on those pages and on my timeline. Chuck Smalley, Shooters and Prospectors, is accepting a waiting list for the Manticore already. And I'll let him talk about that whenever he gets in, because I'm sure the list is growing. It should be anyway. I gotta say, I almost put my name on that list. I would have liked to have put my name on that list, but it's not in the cards right now for me. Unfortunately, that's the way things go sometimes. But we do still have Crazy Spider Adventures, Metal Detecting NYC, All Metal Militia, Detect Ed Outdoors, and Ohio Metal Detecting all on YouTube. We do still have Illinois, Iowa Treasure Hunters, Metal Detecting Central Illinois, Detect America, Detect Ed Outdoors, All Metal Militia, The Relic Hunters, Metal Detecting Beyond Sight and Sound, and Detecting the Heartland. What the hey, we'll throw them a shout out too. As far as the Facebook groups that you really should already be a member of. If you're not, I highly recommend them. You should check them out. Very, very good groups. Definitely. But the real meat and potatoes of the show, welcome to Celeste. Obviously, you can catch Frank, Steve, and the gang Mondays, 8 p.m. Eastern, over on DA Live. You can catch Kelly and on Thursdays with Can You Dig It, 8 p.m. Eastern. And we're here, 8 p.m. Eastern-ish. Sundays and Wednesdays. What is today? Today's Sunday, yeah. We're here. We're right. We're on time. It's our day. I lose track sometimes, but the superstar is in the house. Welcome aboard. And I also see, I don't know, let me see. He may be climbing up a web somewhere. Yes, I do see. We have a Detexpert in the house and on the line. We have a Crazy Spider in the house and on the line. And just his all-around normal, mischievous, chaotic self. How is it going, Crazy Spider?
Hey, Josh. How are you, buddy?
All right. I'm kind of better than I'm all right. I'm excited about this new machine.
Everybody got a little bit of a tickle, just a little tickle, enough to get you going, and
right.
I think everybody got the little tease, and everybody's
cliffhangers,
for more.
Teasers, and it does. It leaves people hungry for more. But look, some people are, I don't know. Some people are already bashing the machine, even though it has not been released, and it's no big secret, folks. This is strategic marketing. This is what we saw with the Equinox. This is what we've seen with other machines. they want to dole out that breadcrumb trail and string us along, so we want more, or in Frank's case, the candy corn trail. And they want us hanging there, with these cliffhangers. We can't wait for more news to be released. So far, though, from what I've seen, I called it with the legend, I've called it with the equinox, and I'll jump out there on a limb and do it again. Minelab has got a killer machine on their hands. It is going to be a beast in the field, and I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of partial.
Yeah, the only thing.
Go ahead.
The only thing that I've seen, more negative outside of people just wanting more, now they're upset because they only got a little bit of a teaser.
Right, yeah, and we're upset because we can't have it now.
That too. But it's been more over the name than anything. And, I can see that if you're only thinking about it, just why do they name it this,
Well,
but
see,
I think it's freaking brilliant.
I'm curious to know. And maybe you've got maybe you've seen some of these posts. Why so upset over the name?
I don't know. But to me, it's brilliant. I like it.
I do too.
The Manticore is a lion, scorpion, dragon. I think everybody's figured that out by now because everybody's probably Google searched it 100 times trying to figure it out. Essentially what they're saying
the Manticore is a mythological creature that has the body of a lion, the head of a man, with the sting of a scorpion, but it is a beast, and that is why Minelab settled on it, I believe.
Well, and if you think about it, they took, in my opinion, it's probably going to be the best of the Equinox, the best of an E-Track, the best of a CTX, which is essentially what the creature is, and put it all together. There you go. There's the Manticore.
Well, and I'm just, full disclosure, I'm going to automatically forewarn people that I may be a bit partial to it to begin with, because I loved the creative genius behind the short little teaser video, because I've kind of got a thing for dragons. So if you don't look real close, it looks like a dragon. And that's enough to sell me right there. But when you see the selling points, these cannot be ignored. You cannot shake a stick at this. When it has 50% more power than the Equinox, it's got 30% more depth, it's got a more expanded VDI, updatable, waterproof to 5 feet deeper than the Equinox, and it's lighter. Yeah, that's right. Somehow they managed to make it lighter. Now, I know we're kind of splitting hairs. It's only lighter by like 27.2 grams.
Thank you, you remembered.
And no, I didn't just pull that number out of the sky there. I had prior privy information to that. John crunched the numbers and said, this is how much lighter it is.
It sounds a lot better than 0.06 pounds.
Yeah, it does. It does. It definitely does. But there's no false marketing here. That is lighter. That is.
So definitely. The dealers, I believe it was the dealers, I don't know if anybody besides the dealers got some additional information yesterday. A lot of it's out there already. I know Chuck's going to be hopping on here, and he'll have some additional
actually, we've got a dealer on,
too, which is really awesome.
We've got a dealer on with us because Chuck is on here with us.
Oh, there we go.
I just got off the phone again. I've been on. It's crazy. So I decided to get on the phone and make it busy.
The list is growing.
Sorry, I know it's Sunday night, but I know you're starting a list. Okay, and these are guys that I know up and down the river here in Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois. They've been calling. They've dealt with me for many, many years, and I've got the list started and told them, look, don't ask me when. I don't
Right.
know. How much? Right now I can tell you $15.99.
Right.
That's what I know. And a whole list of stuff. I got an email from Minelab and some other information from them, and I like what I see on the screens.
So do
it's
I.
very similar to the E-Track, CTX 3030. I don't see any. The 3030 has some unique features. I love target trace IDs.
Yes.
And it looks like you'll see a target on the screen very well. They show that on there. And then, used to, if you roll iron, you got that yellow scatter. I don't see any colorization there. But there's only so much room in a 2.9 pound detector.
Right. And that brings up a good point, too. I mean, we see it with all the manufacturers. And it's because of the end user demand. We want them lighter. We want them more powerful. We want them more ergonomic. But somewhere in that delicate combination of things, the manufacturers present themselves with a new issue. Because how do we do all of this and continue to make it lighter, but keep it durable, keep it rugged so it doesn't break when you pick it up with 2 fingers or something?
Right.
And now we're seeing the way it looks, it's going to be on a carbon fiber shaft, which is a good move.
Yep, it's a good move. I hope that, and looking at the coil from the top side, what I could see of it, it looks like it's a beefed up coil, and it is a different configuration of sorts on that coil. And I saw a schematic of how they were predicting the eddy currents to work with that coil, and it looks like it's going to be quite the unit. Now, the headphones. The same ones that I believe are on the 800 or what you're getting there. It uses the same charge base on it, the magnetic setup. It does have a waterproof for a wired hookup to, you get another cable, but it's a waterproof plug-in for it.
Right.
And that's what it looks like. Now, this is what I'm seeing on it. And a lot of other great things coming down the line, and there'll be waterproof ones out there. You'll have the I'm sure Frank's going to jump all over that as soon as he can. And I don't see anything different as far as length of hookups with those type of things, the headphones, over what the 800 was, whereas it's not a detector specific plug-in.
Okay.
That I don't see. It's supposed to have the faster response. You're using multi-IQ. You have the 2D ID map. Enhanced discrimination. It has an accurate target ID, is what they're telling us, and allows you, remember, you and I've said this 1,000 times.
You are the final discriminator.
Allows you to accept or reject, and wireless audio. Now, it has 10 preset search modes. Then it has 10 unique modes tailored to your specific needs. You can customize it, which is very similar to the E-Track moving on into the CTX 3030.
Right.
It has a large LCD panel.
Yeah, purchasing point there.
Now, they boosted, according to what they're telling us, they have boosted EMI immunity. In the tough environments, it has improved EMI rejection. So, you can continue to use higher sensitivity to isolate targets. We'll see how that works. That's
right.
cool.
Yeah, that'll be one of those things where we'll have to wait. Time will tell in the field with the machine. Is it more resilient to EMI? And if it is, then one can definitely speculate that will breathe new life into some sites.
That's right. Now, Several people, there's some confusion. Several people were posting up that it comes stock with a 15 by 12. It does not. It comes with
an 11.
11 double D. Then they're going to have an 8 by 5.5 elliptical instead of a 6 round.
Which I think is a nice move on Minelab's part.
Then they'll have the 15 by 12 charcoal grill.
Well, there's nothing wrong with swinging a UFO.
No, that's for coverage, man.
Right. Nothing wrong with swinging a UFO. You can really... That'll be very, very popular with the field hunters and the beach hunters.
Now, I don't know if you guys picked up on this. They've got a control box flashlight, auto adjust under display backlight, a backlit keypad, but now they have hand grip via vibration.
Right, which we have seen. Many of us are familiar with that feature, especially if you've used any Note to Macro machines.
Yeah, my friends at Joan Allen over in England have been sending me some snippets and that, and then they put it was a live feed for a while. They walked with the engineer last night, and that is a real good example. Boy, they're swinging that thing fast, and it's popping targets. I mean, they're hearing it. They're doing it as fast as they can. And you get the 3-year warranty with upgrade capability on the software, just like you do on the Knox and the 600 and other units out there. You can, download as needed. And as usual, there will probably be some of them. And their long description, I'll read it to you. It's their most powerful detector yet. The Manticore finds targets faster, more clearly, and in the most challenging environments. Now, it's got impressive capabilities and technologies. They're hoping nothing will go undetected. More effective than the most high-end models in the market today. It has power, precision, and accuracy to detecting in a way that wasn't previously possible. And that is their setup on it.
Nice.
Well, that's pretty much what they sent us, except expanded pictures of what's packed in the box and that. And I'm sure you'll see when they start coming out 500 unboxings. But if you look at it close, same headphones as the 800. So there's room for Frank to build some waterproof ones people will like better.
Right. So we may see some Aquatex in the future.
Oh, I would say so. I think that, swinging that from it might even work with the 800 one. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we got to see what the headphone jack is like.
Add some on it once he gets a chance to test it. And John and I
don't think you mentioned it, Chuck, but another thing that I like on it too is like with my 3030, it's a 2-piece carbon fiber shaft where it looks like this one's going to be a 3-piece carbon fiber shaft. So I like that it breaks down even further for travel or if you have it in your luggage or whatever.
Yeah, it should break down nice and compact, which is also going to be a plus for a purchasing point for people.
Right. And you can go single frequency if you so desire. It has a prospecting mode, which kind of gets me thinking, this might be kind of fun with that.
Right. Chuck may play around with one next year in Alaska, if we see them by then.
Right. The standard hash marks for dig depth, but you expand the screen and it's showing like they're showing a kind of a black dot along the 12 line. You don't see two IDs. You don't see ferrous and non-ferrous. You only see the non-ferrous, but you've got what I call the 12 line or whatever they would have across the screen, is what it appears to be. We'll know more in the future.
So far, though, everything looks good. I like what I'm seeing. I like what I'm hearing. And, over the next few weeks, I'm sure we will be hearing more.
Oh yeah, they'll have a detective ball. They took it over to Joan Allen's dig weekend and showed it off there. Of course, this is the time of year they're opening the fields up, and England is going berserk. They're out hunting hard, so they're really pushing it there. And then got detective all coming, so yeah.
Absolutely.
It'd be cool. And Jason Ware says no more wobble issues. Well, I don't think so. They were talking about the cams on the shaft, Joan Allen was, and they like it. They like there's no movement, side to side. They can feel none, and the beefed up hookup on the coil. So they're addressing. Oh, they also make a point that the arm cuff is tougher.
Good point. You're right.
So they've tried to address the weak points that were at the beginning of the 800 and identifiable and that kind of stuff. So, and a 3-piece carbon, just like John said, might travel a lot easier than the 3030 did because yeah,
I guarantee it'll travel easier than the 3030. Definitely.
And there's questions I won't answer in the chat, Shannon. I know, but I do know some. Frank to 12 line, and I think it's there, and but you won't see it as a dual readout.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting. It'll be a lot of fun, and I hope it lives up to their expectations and our expectations.
Right.
Hey, Sausage Man, I can tell you it looks like they really did a lot of engineering on the coil ears though there. So I have a feeling we're going to be happy with what they came up with.
Yep. I hope so.
Yeah, I believe so.
Until we get it in our hands, I have not had one in my hands. I know somebody who's had one in their hands, but they aren't talking about it much.
Right. Well, and they have been staying pretty tight-lipped about things.
Yeah, well, that's
they have to, though.
Business, yeah. And we'll get our shots at it, I'm sure, somewhere down along the line. And you know what? I'm not saying it could, but there's a couple big hunts here this fall. I'm quite sure one will make an appearance at, could be Kadoa, could be some of the others this fall. DIV, who knows?
Right. We'll have to wait and see.
Right. We'll have to wait and see.
But so far, I like what I'm hearing. I like what I'm seeing. I think they've got a winner on their hands.
Yep.
And
Frank's right. If you've read that line, it is according to the video of Joan Allen. I was texting back and forth with them. They said, it's the same setup. So
very cool.
Yep.
Now we've just got to wait.
Jason asked me a question here. Are they working on a new pinpointer design at Minelab? I have no idea. That they get ingrained in those pinpointers, and once they've got a good one out there, they stay with them for a long time. But it would not surprise me at this point. I would love to see them do something that maybe work through the detector, but they haven't mentioned any of that with the new detector. So there's a possibility, Jason. They haven't said anything.
Right. And it has been a few years since we have seen a new pinpointer release from Minelab.
Last one's the Profine series. They're 35.
Right.
20 and 15. Yep.
And when you look at the other manufacturers, a lot of them have went the way of making them adaptive to where you will hear the wireless, to where you'll hear them communicate with the machine through the headphones, things of that nature that we have not seen from Minelab yet. So it wouldn't surprise me if there's something down the road, but right now I think they've kind of got their hands all wrapped up with this with this one.
Yeah, Chad is killing me right now.
What?
Yeah. Shannon asked it if you saw that it had a flashlight, but does it have a clock? You know what? I don't see it listed in anything I've read. But I don't think it will core an apple, Dennis.
Yeah,
that's what
all kinds of stuff now.
That's what Phil's for, Shannon. Somebody's got a cell phone with them.
Yeah.
And let's face it.
Up, he likes building the Keurig coffee maker, so maybe we can mount one of those on the side of Frank's.
Right. And
yes, I love my Keurig too, Frank.
Let's face it, sometimes a clock isn't necessarily a good thing to have on there in the field.
Yeah.
That's kind of a double-edged sword.
Yes.
I mean, it can be a good thing.
I thought you were going to be back early. I never said that.
Right.
Never.
You realize you've been gone for 8.5 hours? No.
Yep.
Not until I got back in the truck.
Yeah. Now the questions are coming out.
Yeah, they're definitely, yeah. People have got things to say about it.
Mike wants one that talks like Stephen Hawking.
Oh, now wouldn't that be interesting? That could be interesting. But we've got Matt on with us too. How's it going, Matt?
Good. How are you guys doing?
All right.
So, hi, Matt.
Hi, Chuck. So,
how goes it?
Manticore.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting, Matt.
You know, it really sounds like an awesome low price point on something so powerful.
And with all these features packed into it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the most powerful there is to date.
You know, it seems that's pretty cool, you know, and they put some of the same stuff that the Legend has, like the vibrating handle and the flashlight. And, you know, they incorporated that kind of stuff, which is cool, you know, because those are some of the features I really like about the Legend.
Now, I've been asked by several people today, and I thought I'd throw it out there. They asked me, how long will it last charged? It's going to have the same style battery as the 800.
But that's a loaded question because this is all going to be based on your settings and use.
Right. The settings, you know, it could go 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, or less, depending upon how you have it set up, because everything, each feature you turn on and run
uses more battery power.
Yeah, it depends on what frequencies you're running, too. If you're running the low frequencies, that eats more power, too.
So, yeah. Yes, Celeste, I've had several people like that have went with another brand because it vibrates. They can't hear them well. So, in ORH, I'm not even going to try and answer that.
No, if it's associated with his name, now I'm worried.
Yes, you should be.
Yeah, they're being naughty.
Yeah, be afraid. Be very afraid.
So, hey, Tim, how's it going? Oh, Lord.
Oh, my. Bill.
Did you read that? Oh, Lord.
Yeah,
Yeah.
off the rails right now for sure.
We have to be good.
Well, and just remember, those people that were asking about battery life, it is based on your usage and settings. So just remember that, Bill.
Scott. Yes, that's right. The power supply would drop.
That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Oh.
Oh, bunch of hooligans.
Yeah, well, or H would be the one to say it.
Yeah, well, every now and then you got to stir the hornet's nest.
Yes.
Hey, Josh, you can be like Facebook and just ban them for whatever time you discriminate to.
Oh no, we're going to have a detecting beyond sight and sound jail.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. Well, that don't seem right because Barb would be the first one to go in automatically.
No, I mean, a lot of listeners don't know it, but we already do have, it's a super secret hush-hush dark ops location. There are some people already contained in that facility.
Yeah.
But there are other people that just, like Barb and Bill, that no walls can hold.
No running with it.
Yeah. They're beasts in their own realm. Yeah.
So,
definitely.
Well, let's get back on track.
Yes.
I'm anxiously awaiting this to give it a whirl. I've got some guys that are in the same way. And yeah, they love their 800s. Some have 3030s already. They just got to have another one. They want to get out and try it, and it's a lot of fun. So, and then there's some that like to see it move up.
Right.
From what they had. There's two of them that want to move away from an older model. They're both running E-Tracks yet. And they've been waiting for something similar to this.
This would be a prime opportunity for those to make the move.
Yep, two have 3030s, and they're going, well, there's a lot of stuff on that 3030 I really don't need. And, it is a heavier unit, but it balances well. But I'd like to go with the lightweight unit. That, this is what was told me today.
Right.
And on and on. And, yeah, so.
And the list is growing.
Right. Jason has 10 programs you can modify. You can put your own up to 10, and you have 10 preset. That's according to their paperwork.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting because you can do a lot with it. It's got some things that the 3030 has. Oh, by the way, it's also waterproof to 15 feet deep versus 10. So it's going to be, yeah, you're on the list, Frank.
Yep, Frank's on the list.
You're on somebody's list.
We just don't know what list it is. He could be talking about his IMDb list.
So, and Shannon, Womanicore, Womanicore, whatever, power.
Oh, people are getting schooled in mythology.
That's right. Well, when they first come out with the name, and I was reading it, and it said Manticore, the beast. Well, all I can remember, it was scorpion-like. Well, it's got the tail, I actually posted up several times. I think I shared it to your page, the explanation of a Manticore.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you did or not. I haven't been on Facebook a whole lot the past few days.
I shared that around a little bit because I had several people going, what's a Manticore? And then John called me and I said, I think it's kind of scorpion-like. Well, it's got the head of this and the body of that and the scorpion tail. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to figure this out.
Right. Body of a lion, head of a man, sting of a scorpion, if I remember correctly.
Oh, Lord. Now I know why you guys... I was sitting here talking. I'm like, why do you guys keep talking over me? I just realized I was on mute the whole time.
There you are.
No, Chuck. Chuck, I was gonna say, I know obviously you're excited. You know, you have all these new sales that you're probably going to be making here. But
of course,
as far as the machine goes, what are you most excited about? You know, potentially.
What am I excited about? I'm excited about having some of the features of throwback off the 3030 and the E-Track, because believe it or not, most people became so attuned to the ear part of it by the sounds on the E-Track.
Yes, they did.
And you can pretty much do it on the 3030, but I was visual. Especially at 3030 on target tracing that, because occasionally you'd hear things that were so close to good, but if you got that yellow and red scatter, you were working over tin or rusty stuff, and if it would draw me that nice dark spot to one side or the other, I knew I probably had a coin in
amongst the trash.
Yeah, I mean, it was that good. And I'd been out to Fort A.P. Hill. They sent me out there. I was demonstrating to the State Department, the Navy, the Air Force, EOD groups, how you could take, and they actually set up targets for me in their test field to go find, where they would have multiple trash items and a piece of brass or something like that, and I'd call them over, and that was all laid out for me. And then they had me doing landmines too. And I was out there a couple times for Minelab doing that work, and you could get up to 5 items pictured, and they loved that. They ended up buying a bunch of 3030s over that. That went overseas looking for landmines. I'm serious.
That's true.
I got to see and handle every known landmine in the world at their site. They had every one of them. They were benign at that point, except the one used a 25-pound block of C4, and it had no more of a detonator than a 22 short.
That's not a landmine. That's a meteorite crater.
And that was an anti-tank. And I was going over their test minefields.
That's anti-Earth. Somebody plants one of them on the San Andreas Fault, and we lose California.
They told me it was a full block of C4, but until it takes a complete percussion to set it off, it won't go off. They actually, the guys used to carve chunks off and eat coffee with it. It burns nicely. And
right.
About the time we dug that up, they didn't tell me over the hill was the 155 millimeter Hauser range, and they opened up down there practicing. Scared the bejesus out of me. I like to come up 3 feet in the air.
That'll keep you on your toes.
They were laughing so hard they were in tears. They said, "We didn't know you could jump 3 feet up from your knees." I was down lifting that block up. I was, man.
You're probably going, neither did I.
With them. They were happy with my work out there, and that was a lot of fun. So, but that was multiple targets you could see. And Frank's going, multiple targets on the screen? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And they liked that feature. And it got put to use on the Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam minefields a lot.
Well,
if I saved one kid's life, I did a good job.
Right. And I'm sure it saved more than that. And that was a very valuable feature for the CTX.
Yeah, it was. Still is.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely it is.
Off of
they sent me over to A.P. a couple times. That was an interesting place. You had to go through, the first time I had to go through the Pentagon, get everything approved, and we drove on out there. Then I go through that gate with what all they do there. You get checked again, and then you get to go in, and man, that was kind of neat to go do.
Yeah, with the initial release of photos that they did, the ones that Casey and I reviewed on the one video, the screen they had just had a dot. And like, what is that? It can't be anything else but target trace. It has to be target trace. And that's what we were thinking. We were kind of talking ahead of, recording that.
And, well, that's your target indication. But target trace ID is a little bit different because if in the lower right corner on the 30-30, if you got a dark blue target,
where I was,
and then
where I
it
was
goes
going with
up,
that,
and all of a sudden
so-
you're seeing a red target up above it, or they're close. You had two
Right.
targets there. You had cast iron, and a good target that
So,
you wanted to cover.
Where I was going with that, though, they just have this perfect circles, perfect little dot on there. I think that was just more of a marketing picture, or they're just giving an example. But the batch of photos that was released to the dealers, that screenshot has a much more realistic looking ID
right.
that's on there.
That's right. And it looks like almost similar to the 30-30 because you've got one center dot that spreads out. You have a smaller one down to the lower right and a larger or a medium-sized one, like it may be a multiple type target. Right. That's what I liked about the 30-30 the most that I use. And it's pretty neat. So if this has got the power they say it does, and does the same on the target IDs, and you can create your I don't know. One thing, I don't know what kind of programming you'll see for tone IDs, whether it'll be 1, 2, 5, 50, 99. That hasn't been addressed.
Right.
So it's going to be great. I'm going to have fun with it.
And I like the fact that we're seeing an expanded VDI, because that was one of the things that Equinox users had mildly complained about, was the fact that the VDIs were so congested, restrictive.
And, looking back, and John, I'm going back to the original Explorers, and before they straightened that curve out on the 12 line, and
right.
how you had to figure stuff up, and you did get all it did was lay you a dot on, let's say it was 24, and it laid it to 24 on the screen. And as they straightened that out and got that on board with the E-Track, that curve was straightened out, and then they were able to move forward to the 30-30 with the target trace set up. And the advancements in that, but now they haven't stepped back. And Frank said it pretty well there a minute ago on the 2D screen. You'll have square and circular targets, so you do get the imaging. I just don't know how advanced. And he says he thinks they said in the UK 60 tone possibly. So,
which would be fine. That'd be great.
Fine. Most of the time I hunt 5 tone.
Yeah, I was going to say, for a lot of your average users, they don't hardly use more than 5 tones or so, where I'll throw as many tones at it as I can. I like all that extra audio information.
See, the compression of the VDI screens on many detectors have fallen in with the weight restrictions. They want to make them lighter, so that particular board back there, that takes up a lot. It adds more weight. But they're compacting things more and more. But if they can give you that, where you see that VDI better, and you all know in the sunlight, I don't care whose VDI it is, you have a problem with it, and especially if you got a protector on it, because it's glaring back at you. If you're wearing polarized glasses, you get the wavy lines in there, all kinds of different things with these screens. So a larger screen is a good thing, I think.
Well, it is if you ask me. I'm all about screen size.
Right. Yeah. So the E-Track, Larry, is a great machine. And the only thing is, with me on that E-Track, it's got that little different angle on there, and it does wear you down a lot quicker than some of the others.
Yeah, it's years back, I had to send my CTX in for repairs, and while it was in for repairs, I reverted back to the E-Track, and I hadn't noticed it switching from the E-Track to the CTX necessarily, other than it was nicely balanced and everything like that with the CTX. But when I reverted back to the E-Track while the CTX was in the shop, I'm going, man, how did I swing this thing?
Yeah. Well, going back to what John asked me on questions, what excites me more? Let's get into that a little bit. They've listened to customers. They've taken note on the problems that the 800s had with external things, more or less. You know, breaking coil ears and having wobble and other problems. And they went from 10 feet to 15 feet for the depth. Most of the guys are taking them down there and they're failing that depth. But now they're sending them over to Yugoslavia. A guy over there builds a complete waterproof thing there over the top of it. Ron and some of his buddies got that. They shipped the end over, and I think it's $250, and he waterproofs the whole unit.
Right.
I always tell them, buy an X-Cal. It's made to die. But regardless of that, what excites me is they've done some work with the coil. It's lightened up, and it looks like a bit of a different setup.
Yeah, different mounting configuration.
Yes, and any current chart that I saw on it is different than I've ever seen on any coil. So that may be one of the biggest differences with the extra power and a better coil configuration. You might do a lot better than what you think.
Yeah, they said the ears are on the end of the shaft instead of on the coil this time.
Yeah, I think we're all going to be pleasantly surprised with what we see as more and more information comes out.
Well, it's nice to have 3 coils available right away. The 15, the 11, and the 9.
Right.
Right. So, anyhow, that's my take on it. And John and I are pretty excited. Maybe we'll get our hands on John's going down to the Kadoa hunt. He may get to see one. We don't know. They aren't saying much to us here in the States yet. They're on their big European tour or England tour right now. And
right.
You'll make it here.
It will. People are just going to have to be patient. I mean, and this is nothing new. We saw this with the Equinox too, where it was released across the pond first, and I mean, let's face it, it's going to market better across the pond right now because they're going into their hunting season where we're coming out. Yeah,
we're coming out of it. Unless you go down like Frank and go live in Florida.
Yeah, or unless you're fortunate enough to travel to Aruba or something.
Well, yeah, that might happen. In fact, I know it's going to. I just don't know if I want to come back.
Yeah, at that time of the year, probably not. But we'll see how it goes.
There's two caveats to that. One, getting there, flying through Chicago, then on down in the winter. That's always dicey, even with all the other problems. And then wanting to come back. Can I extend this?
Yeah, exactly. How much longer can we get away with being away?
That's right.
It's a fine line sometimes.
Yes, it is. So, is John, you still on?
Yes, he's muted again. Oh, he's not.
He's there. No. Just thought we lost him. So what's your take on this?
Right. What excites you about it?
Yeah, I'm turning the table. What do you want out of a new machine? You think you can just live with the 3030 and the 800, or are you going to have another one?
No, John's going to have another one.
100%. Yeah. So, no, it's for those of you that did not see the video I put out. Basically, in there, I talked about a confidential interview type thing that Minelab wanted me to do for them as a DETECTEES. And they had just a select group of DETECTEES that did a video call with this outside company, a third party company, to get our viewpoints and basically talk without having fear of any repercussions, about Minelab. And perspectives that we have about Minelab. And then basically that third party grouped everybody's feedback together and then passed that on to Minelab. And when it came to, if you, as a consumer, what would you really like as a detector? Like, what would you like to see us produce? And they must have had a lot of feedback, because my feedback's just a drop in the bucket, but they must have had a lot of feedback that was very similar to what I said, which was, if they can take like the screen of the, I don't have the E-Track experience, but I have the 3030, I have the Knox, and I basically said, if I could have like a lot of the screen type things, like the notching ability, the target tracing, things like that from the 3030, mixed with the clarity of Equinox and how it separates targets so well, and the brain power that comes behind that with the weight and all that, combine the two, and that would be like the perfect machine. Like, I would love that. So when like everything rolled out, it was just like goosebumps, because it's like, oh my God, like this is going to be freaking amazing, and everybody's going to go nuts over this, because I think that this is going to be what people are really going to, just die for. And the price point is not bad, in my opinion. I think it's a very good price point for what is getting packed in this.
What's
very much
there,
like the
yeah,
Knox.
absolutely.
The Knox, that's not a bad price point for the punch that thing punches with, for what it packs for a punch. So I think that they're doing really well with, what they're putting in the machines and the price point to go behind it. I think it's great.
Yeah, they've expanded on the technology that's in the Equinox, and you've got this kind of E-Track CTX hybrid rolled into the Equinox on steroids.
Yep,
absolutely.
I would have thought, now, judging by some of the things in the past that Minelab rolled out with, and I was very impressed with the Equinox 6 and 800 price points, but then when you're talking gold machines, some of the price points of the new gold machines they've rolled out, they're pricey. They're plain and simple, they're pricey, and they've been doing a lot more work on them. But I'm not saying that the $15.99 is out of reach. Let's take a look at the Deus 2.
Right. I mean, and I'm not saying that every machine that Minelab has rolled out has been a grand idea. There have been some that I had thought were just flops. But this one, I think they've got a killer on their hands. It is going to be a good machine.
Back in the home run race.
Yeah.
And if they've got 30% more depth, as they're touting, or more, you're going to be digging some real holes. You need a backhoe in the field.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I've already easily dug targets at more than a foot deep with the E-Track and the CTX.
Yep.
So yeah, people better be ready to dig.
Yep.
They're going to have to work to get some of them targets out of the ground.
And you got a 3-year warranty on it. Now, they did not mention the battery again. The last time the battery is a 1 year only. That's not mentioned in there. I did not see that. So
right.
We'll see if they've upped the battery to 3 years. I'm still running on the first battery. That unit I've had since the 800s come out. And I'm still running on the original battery, and I've only had one guy come in to have one replaced.
Right. And you're right. Usually they do not warranty the battery as long as they warranty the unit.
Nope. So we'll see how that comes out. I'm just trying to stop anybody from being surprised about anything. And I'm quite sure, I think I talked to you about it, John, and a little bit, Josh. I'm sure there'll be updates. They'll find some glitches right off the bat. There'll be some updates, and then they'll level it all out, and things will be pretty good. And free updates if they come up with stuff. So that's a good thing too.
Well, yeah, and
yeah,
I mean,
they only have so many testers out there for the machines, and you know, if you have a dozen testers, the chances of, you know, popping one of those potential issues is fairly low compared to when you have hundreds of these flood the market, and then all of a sudden, okay, you know, 5% of people or 10% of the people start having this problem. Now you're going to really see if there's a issue out there, you know, and hopefully the testers catch most of the issues, but that's why sometimes with any company you see those issues, and that's what makes it nice is they can update the machines to correct some of that.
Well, and that's the beauty of the online updates like that. I mean, we saw it with the Equinox. You know, where Minelab was touting that it was updatable, and then we actually saw updates for it, which was a nice, refreshing change of pace for Minelab.
That's right. And now you're in a price point field of good detectors, starting in the $350, $400 range, all the way up to $1,500. I mean, let's take a look at the 3030 and its price point and compare it to the price point this one's coming out at. You $800 less. We'll see if it holds up to the hype.
Right. But I can remember when the Equinox was released, there were a lot of people that thought that that was all just hype too, and that has proved to be a solid performer in the field.
And
Josh,
Minelab, some of the best engineers.
Very
building all the time. R&D's big there.
Right. You were what,
very
John?
Heartbroken and disappointed. Very heartbroken and disappointed with the Knox when it came out, because I swear I saw in there was a feature where
that it would dig your targets for you.
That when you're getting close to lunchtime, that you could put in to-go orders at your local restaurants, but
there you go.
That didn't happen. So I was a bit disappointed.
Well, yeah, I know what you mean. You know, because I thought there was going to be a sizable list there, and none of the restaurants were in my area. So, what do you do?
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Manticore Wi-Fi capable?
What's that?
Wi-Fi capable as far as the...
Well, yes, because I'm almost certain those headphones are of the same type. And that's a Wi-Fi. They have Wi-Fi, and they also will probably have, well, I don't know what we'll call this one, WMO8, their brand of
wireless module.
I didn't see that in the box.
Well, and realistically, we're getting into the day and age where everybody prefers to be wireless anyway. Right. Well, for land hunters, I mean, because you can't really do that for the water hunters. That's why we have Aquatex. But I mean, we saw the low latency wireless headphones for the Equinox. And at this point in the game, there's no sense in taking a step backwards. So I could see that definitely being, like you said, pretty much the same type style of headphones that were packaged with the Equinox.
Well, what I am hoping for myself personally, John, Josh, Matt, is that they're out on the market by the first of the year.
Okay, I figured you were going to say what I am hoping is I can have one in my hands in time to take it to Alaska and find gold with it.
I just want to take it to Aruba and give it a shot in the water.
That would be nice. Yeah, good point. I can see why you would go that route.
Yeah, that's my wish list. That's all I got for it.
And you'll find a lot of people, John and I were discussing this a little before the show, actually, with the vibrating handle. There were a lot of users out there, especially with Nook the Macro at first, when they were incorporating that into units, that thought, well, what benefit is this going to be for me? And a lot of people have found that carried over to the water hunting arena wonderfully.
Yes.
Good for night hunting also.
So,
right.
good for hunting at night also.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And the vibration mode, it's about time they stepped up to that. And that's a good thing to have too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and like I said, in the technological age that we're in, there is absolutely no reason at all why any manufacturer should be putting out anything less than weather resistant, and probably should be sticking with waterproof, all terrain type situation. So it's good to see that that's the way this is. And obviously, in that price point, users are going to expect that anyway.
Yes. So it's going to be fun. It's always fun when new stuff's coming out. I mean, we've had the Legend this year. Now we've got the Manticore coming. People are excited about it. They know that the companies are trying to, other than, they aren't building something and repackaging the same unit. They're advancing. They're blending what they've got that has been successful in this unit, and points for the high success. They're putting it over into this. It's a good win-win for us all. Frank gets to come out with more headphones. Ronnie, more accessories. I mean, it drives business, and we'll all figure it out along the way. Because if you can go back into sites, and we've seen them tout this, it's just like going back and you're finding more again.
Right.
Like it hasn't been totally worked out. And no site really is. But as they improve these detectors, they get thinner and thinner.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And some of that is, we're being more methodical with it because we do have a new machine in our hands, so we are paying more attention. And some of it has to do with the capability that machine can achieve.
Right. And, it's a win again, and it isn't a terrible high price point. So, we'll see what it brings. We'll see how this one does in comparison to the introduction of the 6 and 800s. And that was a huge win on Minelab's part.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And if people want to complain about the price point, I mean, hey, send me a message. I can send you a screenshot with a price point that'll make you choke.
There you go. So, but it's a lot of fun to follow it and stay with it. And I always tell myself, if I had one of these 35 years ago, there'd been nothing left.
Yeah, exactly. I keep thinking, man, why couldn't they came out with this stuff like 20 years back or something? I'd done had everything dug up around here.
I mean, at that point, the advancement in the better discrimination, better, the screens, and you weren't tied up to a metal box that weighed 8.5 pounds with a door handle swinging it.
Right. You guys have to remember that they're coming out with these machines now because you guys dug all the easy stuff already. We have to invent machines like this.
That's right.
Yeah, see, now instead of looking for, different machines to hunt areas with, we're looking for new areas to hunt.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a question.
It is.
Yeah, shoot, Matt.
We've seen. Go ahead, Matt.
I was wondering, what is the frequency spread on the Manticore?
Well, when they show, they do have the 5, the 10. I saw in a video them paging through the different, you can go singular frequency. I did see 5 and 10. I can't remember what else was all on there, but I'm quite sure.
I know there's a 40.
Is there?
Well, the 40 would be there for the.
That would be in there for the gold mode.
The gold, yeah.
Right. So it'll be very similar.
It could be 5, 10, 15, 20 and 40 again. I don't know.
Yeah,
exactly.
I thought I might have heard somewhere it might have had a little wider frequency spread than the Equinox, but don't quote me on that.
So,
yeah, that would be nice, because your higher frequencies would be really good for the small gold.
Yep. Your VLF mode is always hit well on deep silver.
Right.
Yeah. Here we go. It looks like it's 5, 10, 15, 20, and 40, but there will be additional kilohertz added to the multi-frequency range, but I don't know how many that would be.
Right. We don't know how many or what they would be.
Used to advertise it as unlimited, and then they changed it just to multi-IQ.
Bob wants to know if they'll take one to the moon with them.
I'm quite sure they'd find hot rocks.
Right, they're all over the place.
Meteorites.
Yeah.
Yep. And maybe some alien metal we've never heard of.
Well, and I had to stop and look at the name because I thought for sure if anybody put that in there, it would have been Mike or Bill. But it wasn't. It wasn't.
Let's see what time tells. I would love to have one in hand out in Virginia.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said at the beginning of the
test
show.
It on the hottest soil.
I was thinking that too, yeah.
Yep. Like I said on the beginning of the show, I mean, I'm excited about it. I would definitely be interested in seeing what one is capable of. It looks good. It's a nice looking machine.
So far out in Virginia, and I've used a lot of machines, and the 3030 would hit on your brass and copper well. It had some problems. You would get lead, but it wouldn't get that deep. And the E-Track, it did okay, but the PI is still king out there.
Right. Now, and the Equinox didn't do too bad either.
Right. I had some good.
It's still a PI
Equinox
game.
There.
Right.
And we're still waiting to see when the Axiom is going to be released because I have some faith in that machine. That machine was hitting hard on small gold.
Yeah, I can absolutely see that being carried over to the really.
And they had no problems with hot rocks, and that place is loaded with them.
That sounds very promising in its own.
It was very promising.
Yeah.
So we've got other models coming out. We're going to be following my gold hunters and that kind of stuff. And I'm waiting on the Axiom. I've got some that are supposed to go to Virginia already.
That does not surprise me at all.
Yep, I got a call from several of my Virginia buddies, and they said, when? I said, I don't know. As soon as they can, I guess.
I can't give you a definite time frame.
Because there was some issues, nothing major, that were noted out in Alaska and sent back to them. They're working on. They actually listened to KG, Ringy, Gary, some other things, Mark, myself. We gave them some feedback.
Right. And that's the process of evolution with it.
That's right. The endpoint user, what did you find? Not necessarily in the ground, but did you have problems?
Right. And that's another thing that is going to be interesting to see with this. I mean, it's great that it could have up to 30% more depth, but sometimes it's more of a game of separation than it is depth. Because if you can't see the target, it doesn't matter how shallow or deep it is, you're not going to find it.
Right.
And it sounds like the separation should be quite nice on this.
Yeah. So John's going to maybe get a first look at it for us down there at Kadoha. We can't say that he is, but I'm almost willing to bet that there'll be a few floating around there and maybe a test garden set up, and hopefully that we can get some more input out of that. And you never know where another one might pop up.
Right. Yeah, now that it's all out there, we're all anxiously awaiting more information. Details.
Coming soon, buddy. Coming soon.
Right. We will definitely be watching.
Let's hope that they bring one to the States.
Oh, they will, sooner or later. But we'll see what happens. And when they do, it'll be interesting. Look out, people. We'll see what happens with it, though.
It's going to be fun. So, well, guys,
It
that's
will.
all I know about it at this time. No, I haven't had one in my hands. I've been getting some little reports on one that's in the country. Other than that, they're really tight-lipped with it.
Right. But you are making your list and checking it twice.
That's right. That's right. So we'll see how that goes, and I'll definitely have one in my hands. We'll get out in the field with it, and anybody interested, get a hold of me. I'll put you on the list. It's just a waiting game. We don't know.
Right.
I was trying to compare the launch of the 800 back when they did that to when we were in England. I was trying to remember back how long it took before we got them in our hands here.
I want to say it was about 6 months.
Yeah. And so that would shoot you towards next spring.
Which would be a fine time.
Yep. Yep. We'll see. We'll see how far advanced they were at this point before they get it out worldwide, because it's a worldwide market. And if this thing proves itself across the board, even into the prospecting zone.
Yeah, we'll know it before it gets here.
Yeah, and in the relic world, in the hot soils out east and other places. And I'm quite sure it's being tested in other zones from Africa to Brazil and South America and the Caribbean and other places like that, through Europe. It takes time, and that's all part of the R&D setup.
That's right. And we've got Frankie on with us. You're Frank.
Hey, Frank.
Put me on the list.
Okay, well, you're on the list automatically. You're always on one or two lists. You know that. For one reason or another. It happens.
Just checking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, you're on the list, buddy. I mean, there's
okay.
We'll get you set up.
It was a good show tonight.
John's on the list, and me, and we'll work them hard. We'll see if we can get the most out of them, and see what's good and bad. Because there's already, and this is a point I want to bring up before I get off here. I'm already seeing people showing the picture, and they're bashing cable hookups. They're bashing. They haven't even had one in their hands yet, and by a picture, they're telling us that this probably isn't going to work. That isn't any good. This isn't any good. I'm like,
right.
How do you know?
Give the machine a chance.
You know, they just need to sit back and watch.
Quit putting the cart in front of the horse. I mean, to bash it, I think that's being extremely premature.
And, you know, when the Legend came out, and people were bashing that. I was watching DA one night, and they were, a couple of them bashing it on there, and I'm like, you got one yet? Don't bash it till you got it in your hand.
Right. You've got no experience to speak from.
Like that you don't understand, talk to them. They'll talk back to you.
Yeah, you may not like what they have to say, but they'll talk back.
That's right. That's right. So, yeah, I've already seen that a couple times. And
yeah, it's discouraging, but what do you do? I mean, we're not all like that.
No. just kind of move forward. It took a while. There were bugs and fixes on the 800 and the 600, and the Legend is still a bit of work in progress. They keep updating, and they're getting things squared away on that. And the Deus, there's guys that absolutely love them, and the rest absolutely hate them.
Right.
That's a Deus. But I know, talking with Ronnie, he's been running the Deus 2 down on the beach, and they are digging some phenomenal depths with that thing. Yeah, he said I had to tweak it a little bit, do different stuff with it, but all of a sudden he's getting 20-inch coins.
Right.
So, not every model's for everybody. We'll just have to wait and see.
Well, and that's something else that people have to take into account, is that some of these people that could be bashing, that you see making negative comments about the machine, you need to stop and ask yourself, what are their intentions? I mean, is this person a diehard brand loyal user of XYZ brand? And maybe that's why they're doing it.
Right. Yeah, I'm just reading what they're saying on here. One YouTuber was really bashing the Legend, and they were trying to compare it, if I remember right, to a Deus.
Yeah.
Well, that's not apples to apples, folks.
And that I believe anyway, the particular situation they're referring to, that was resolved quite quickly.
Right. And and Frank, you know what? There's already a Manticore site up over in Europe.
Right.
And some bashing's going on that. So it's like, guys, you haven't even got it yet. Good God.
Right. Yeah. I mean, take a chill pill. Let's all just take a step back and calm down. It'll be all right.
Right.
One thing I see with the Legend is a lot of newbies that are just getting into metal detecting are taking the dive, and then they're over their head. They're asking people, who's got a good program? And it's like, you got to just figure it out yourself,
Yeah, a lot of people like to jump in, and that's their first thing is, well, what's a good program? Well, what works for, say, Joe in Alaska may not work for Tom in Virginia.
Right.
Right. So and Frank, I've been seeing what Brian's been digging. He is killing it with that Legend.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Hey, Earl, how you doing, buddy? You get that rack finished? So I'm looking forward to seeing everything. I mean, yeah, we'll just have to hang on, and those that bash it, well, maybe someday somebody will teach you how to run a metal detector.
Right. Yeah. I mean, some of these people they've got to get over themselves. No, I'm not talking about you, Frank.
Which Frank you talking about? You got to justify that.
Superstar Frank.
Oh, Superstar Frank.
And Frank number 2.
No, you're Tony Fazoli.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I'm not talking about Tony.
Lisa DeGhetto named you Tony Fasoli. You didn't have to talk to 2 Franks.
You just keep practicing that hobby, and we'll let you know when you've got it perfected.
Yeah, it's going to take a long time.
Right.
Yeah, it's been, 6 to 7 years now, I think, so.
Well, you're getting closer. Just keep working on it.
Right. More testing needs to be done.
Oh, we got her under control. No problem.
We're all very happy to be market testers for you, Frank.
Yes,
there
absolutely.
That's right. Free market rhubarb.
There you go, for sure.
And Frank Lapergallo says he'll never get over me. In other words, I'll never get over me, he says. Well, that's all right, Frank. Hang in there, buddy.
And his DVR proves it. Oh, that's all right.
Candy corn.
Yeah, that's all right. Frank's a good guy.
Tim's heading off to London in 30 days.
Well,
Heading over
maybe
with Ronnie.
maybe he can get a look at the new machine. I doubt it, but because I don't see it being out that soon. But you never know.
They're playing the masses right now, getting the excitement level up. They are. When we were over there for the 800, they had 10 operating machines in the world, and 8 of them were there.
Right.
And they weren't fully operational. Not all functions were enabled in it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they were operational, but they were still prototypes. They weren't the full production run.
Right. So it's just the way it goes. Hang on to your hat, folks. And I've got a list started, and I know others do too. They're putting it out there, and we'll see how it goes. And it should probably be a good start. And if the functionality of everything they put into this is really good, it'll be a great machine because it's got a bit of 3030, a bit of E-Track, the 800, all combined together.
Yeah.
They put a prospecting mode in it, which really will help all across the board because, you got a unit that I hunt in Illinois in the summer and I go to Arizona in the winter. Now I've got a gold machine and a multi-purpose coin relic machine, and if you can go out east and use it in the hot soils and maybe dig some DIV goodies or wherever you're at out there, it'll be a lot of fun.
Absolutely, I agree. And for those that don't already know, you can get in contact with Chuck through his Facebook page, and we've even got the phone number in the description and chat as well.
Right. And if you need an Aquatex, call me.
Got those too.
And others, but we like to push Frank, and we got the ugly box. In fact, I'm about out of them. I have to talk to Ronnie again. Getting ready for that time of year in the north up here where you can just sit and bubble coins.
Yep. Heads up, Frank. More work's coming.
There you go.
Hey, Chuck.
Yeah. So, anyway, I'll get out of here.
I think Matt's got a question for you before you go,
Matt's
Chuck.
got a question. I can't quite hear him. What'd you say, Matt?
I was going to say, why don't you go ahead and add me to that list for the banner?
All right, I'll put you on the list with the boys here.
Well, we're all on some sort of list, that's for sure.
You guys don't have any idea how many lists I'm on.
Right? Oh, I'm on a lot of lists. It's just most of them aren't necessarily very good ones.
And Frank reports his new shop up and running soon, and I believe that in Florida, Frank, is that correct?
It is.
Yeah.
That's will
cool.
be. He's excited.
Yes, he is.
Of course, I
I'm
can't blame
happy.
him. I would be too.
That's right. That's right.
I don't think they have.
Josh is on the most wanted list, according to Frank. Yeah.
Right now, I feel like I'm on the most wanted list for taking trees down.
That's right.
I wonder if Florida has as many trees as Ohio does. Maybe I should go to Florida.
Yeah, but it's what's hanging around their trees down there anymore is getting to be bad.
Well, I'm not going to say that there's necessarily good things hanging around these trees either.
So, all right, guys, have a good night. Thanks for having me on. Everybody stay safe. Get out and find something. We actually got some more rain today. The ground should be in better shape. And
we're still on for Wednesday, right?
Yes, as far as I know.
Okay.
What time you coming?
As early as you'll allow me. I don't know.
Okay. We'll talk. All right. You guys have a great night. Take care.
If you
Bye-bye.
show up before 6, you better bring coffee and donuts.
Lots of
I don't
coffee.
think he's ever. He hasn't allowed me there that early.
No, that ain't me. I'm up about that time. Yeah, it's somebody else.
Right.
Yep. All right. Later. Bye-bye.
Take care, Chuck.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, definitely
All right,
some.
now that he's off the line, he has yoga, calisthenics, coffee, that kind of thing going on, and so I don't get to go there till about 8.
Ah, I see.
I can't do those yoga poses. He embarrasses me.
Right. Yeah, I there's no way I can. I'd just fall over. They might as well just turn me into a pretzel.
I gotta get up in 6 hours for work, so I gotta get out of here too.
Yeah, but thanks for the information, John.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Not a problem.
I'll see you hopefully Wednesday, Frankie.
Yeah, early, 8 o'clock.
We'll figure
I
it
got
out.
till noon, 8 to noon.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
No problem.
All right, see you later. Bye.
Later.
Well, there you go.
Else to say either, so I'll probably cut out too, Josh. But thanks for letting me come on again. So,
Are you kidding? We always got a spot for you, Tony.
gotcha. Okay.
All right,
yeah,
thanks.
Chuck called me up today and says, "Hey, we're talking about the new metal detector tonight." So I hurry up and got all my running around done and got here about 10 to 7 trying to get on, and all I could get was last week. And
Yeah, because we weren't there yet.
And finally, and I finally, and all of a sudden it said live. Oh, okay. And I clicked on that, and then, so. Yep.
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't get in until I show up.
Yeah.
I know. Some people out there are probably going, oh, I see. Let's make it all about you. But, somebody's got to throw the switch.
Yeah. Yeah, when live comes on, it's live.
It is, yes. No denying that.
Yep, will do then. Well, hey, you have a good week. Good night, and we'll talk to you later, and thanks a lot.
Same to you, buddy.
Okay, have a good night. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for the call. Well, I think that about sums it all up for us there, Matt.
Yeah, I got a quick funny to tell you. Being the fact that I'm totally blind when I was putting together my Knox 800, I ended up with an extra, piece for the shaft. And I was like, that's weird. There's 3 pieces. Never thought much about it. Just kind of put it together and set it aside. And then the first time I went outside with it, I had, turned it on and I, had figured out what tones were what. And I had it set on 5 tones. And I went out to the yard, in my front yard, and I went to start detecting. I'm like,
this thing's awful short.
Yeah. I was like, I'm missing something here. I know where that other piece for that shaft goes. So I came back in the house, put it in there, and then we were just fine. But it was hilarious, So.
Right. That'll give you some. That'll make your back hurt.
Oh, for sure. It's just one of those blind blunders, that I did.
Hey, I can relate.
Right, I know. So you have a good night. Great show. Thanks for letting me call in, and I will talk to you later.
Hey, anytime. Take care out there.
Yep, bye.
We'll see you. So there we have it, the Minelab MANTICORE. It's going to be interesting. I'm excited about it. Hopefully you are too. I don't know what we've got what we've got coming up, but obviously at some point here in the near future, it sounds like, backed by popular demand, we'll be bringing back Dig Your Plug. So that's going to be something for the listeners to look forward to. Not to mention, we do still have the Centurion contest coming up in the very somewhat near future. And that's going to be a good time as well. You'll definitely want to make sure and not miss that. When is it going to be? We can't give you a hard date. Seems to be a pattern tonight, right? Either way, we hope that everyone enjoyed the show. We're going to roll on out as well. Stay safe. Get out there and try to find something if you can. Post up the finds. You know how we like to see them. Looks like I'm still playing with trees for a while. Have a wonderful evening, folks. We're out of here.